You've arrived. You're in the right place. 8:30 Eastern Time, Wednesday night here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Our special Miami edition each and every Wednesday with Cam Underwood from State of the U. So lock it in for the next 60 minutes or so. We'll see how it goes. If you've got plenty of good questions and comments, leave them in the live chat. Of course, I'll be scanning what you have to say and delivering my own questions and comments to Cam Underwood. Please check out the previous videos because Cam's been on just about every Wednesday for several months, breaking down Miami football for us each and every week. Cam, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. Feel good, feel strong. Hanging out in my newly air-conditioned home because my air conditioning broke earlier, so I had to have that serviced. But whatever. So it's nice and comfortable now, so I'm good and comfortable to talk some Miami football. So let's have some fun.
Hopefully, with a smile on your face, you're able to enjoy it without looking or thinking about what was probably the bill.
Yeah, no, that's already been settled and everything, so I'm not worried about that. So I'm looking at the thermostat. You can't see it. I'm facing it and everything, but I feel the cool breeze going on as opposed to this oppressive heat that it once was when I got home from work. So all good.
Unfortunately, that's not a concern here in Connecticut. After a few days dipped into the 80s a couple of weeks ago, we've been mired in the mid 50s. Yeah, it needs to turn into spring here sometime soon. It's awful.
That would want to warm up, but it's always warm here, so we're pretty good.
Cam Underwood, State of the U. Please check out him and the rest of the staff and what they have to offer there. Again, SB Nation's State of the U, and I'm sure most of the people watching know exactly where to find Cam. Lock it in here to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. So you can also help build the channel by grabbing the Amazon link that you find in the description section of this video or any video. Just do your regular Amazon shopping. Do exactly what you would do otherwise. And a small little portion of that comes to build the channel. Also, we've got the super chat on. So if you appreciate what we do here at my channel, but in addition to that, more so what Cam brings every Wednesday night for us, please leave something there in the super chat. And I'll be reminding you that from time to time there in the live chat as well. So, Cam, as you mentioned to me before we started to record, some recruiting news is out there. So I'll let you take it away from there.
Yeah, and actually, I kind of buried the lead thinking about it. So there's a couple things I want to talk about. Number one, he has a quarterback for the 2020 recruiting class. His name is Tyler Van Dyke. He's from your neck of the woods up in Connecticut. Goes to Suffield Academy, and I forget the town. Okay. But 6'4", 216, rocket arm. Guy can move a little bit. He's not a Tate Martell kind of Johnny Manziel scrambler, but he is athletic for his size. You see him running around, making guys miss, extending plays, rolling out on his highlight film. And his highlight film is pretty good. He threw for a little under 1,900 or 2,000 yards, 14 touchdowns, 5 interceptions as a junior. So, you hope that those numbers are going to go with a 57% completion percentage. So, solid. Not like, Trevor Lawrence numbers or anything where he was throwing for 4,000 yards a year in high school. But he has some tools. So, obviously, he's well built for the position at 6'4", almost 215. He should easily be 230, 235 in college once he gets to like a weight program and just kind of developing, so he should be able to grow into his body. The kid has a cannon for an arm. And, I've been on record here saying that N'Kosi Perry has the strongest arm in the quarterback room. That's going to change when Tyler Van Dyke gets to campus. That's the kind of arm this kid has. The first video or the first play on his highlight film, the kid flicks the ball pretty much almost flat-footed with very little stride weight transfer and throws the ball 63 yards on a dime. It is, it was like 58 or 63, one of the two. It was something like that. But that's the first play of his highlight film. This kid has a cannon. He plays baseball also. He's been clocked into the mid-low 90s, on the hill or from the infield throws and things like that. But he has an absolute cannon for an arm. He works under center. And in the shotgun, but he has experience under center, taking snaps, taking drops, running play action. And that's a big positive for him because he won't have to learn how to do that at the college level. Basically all three of these quarterbacks and Peyton Matoka when he comes in, all the quarterbacks for this year really having their first experiences under center. That's not the case for Tyler Van Dyke. So, he's the guy that Dan Enos wanted. Picked Miami over Syracuse, was another team. Dino Babers wanted him to be their quarterback of the future. And if Dino Babers wants a quarterback, that's a quarterback that you want, period. Like, just full stop. So if Dino Babers wanted Tyler Van Dyke, sign me up. But I also have eyes in my head and a brain that works. So yeah, he had many other offers around also. I think Michigan, North Carolina, and Boston College, some other teams, locally and regionally, had offered him as well. So I think he had like 16 or 17 offers, Tyler Van Dyke did, before he committed to Miami. And he took a secret visit last weekend. Because, you can take unofficial visits, you can go to campuses and things like that right now because it's the contact and evaluation period. So, ahead of that, everybody, even like last week, I think I was asked about it. I said, I'm not really sure, blah, blah, blah. Because, that's what it looked like. He was going to go to Syracuse, Tyler Van Dyke, that is, with his commitment. And then last weekend, he quietly flew down, had a nice couple days here in South Florida, met with the coaches, talked to a couple of the players, yada, 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 goes back home and he's like, yep, that's my spot. And he committed. So that, is another player on offense that Miami has in this class. And the offensive recruiting is going better right now than the defensive recruiting, just by the talent that's already committed. If you look at quarterback, you got Tyler Van Dyke, who's a 4-star. He's the highest rated recruit at the quarterback position of the big three in Florida. That's Miami, Florida, and Florida State. That's a verifiable fact. So, whatever. People want to say, Florida fans talking about, I don't know if they play high school football in Connecticut. Your best tight end ever, who wore number 81, hails from Connecticut. Like, don't come to me and talk about that when you have Tyson Fomanch, who committed to Clemson. And both of those teams, Florida in particular, because they were the ones who were talking stuff, you had him on campus for 2 separate unofficial visits. Don't talk to me about that. You know what I mean? But Tyler Van Dyke, number 1. You got Don Chaney Jr. at running back, who's a top 5 running back in this class. The kid is an absolute athletic freak. You got Marcus Fleming, who can fly at wide receiver. You got Brian Robinson, who's an all-around beast at wide receiver. You got Dominic Mammarelli at tight end, who's 6'4", 235, plays in a wing T program, so he's a good blocker and way more athletic than you would think because, Naples High in Naples, Florida doesn't really run that many pass plays for him, but he still makes plays. If you're looking at the skill positions on offense, dude, they're doing work. And it's a little counterintuitive because you would think, Manny Diaz was the defensive coordinator. The defensive recruiting would be ahead of the offensive recruiting. But I think that he and everybody knows that the offensive recruiting needs to be to this standard, to this level, to really take this program forward. So that's going well. So, the latest commitment, Tyler Van Dyke, I put up a welcome to the U piece on State of the U, boom, done. On the other side, however, Miami's missed on a couple linebackers this week that – the first one was 5-star Antoine Sampa from Woodbridge, Virginia. And most everybody thought he was down to Florida State or Miami, but leaning Miami, probably going to go to Miami. National writers wrote it. Mike Farrell from Rivals wrote it. Even the guys on 247, other sites were we feel pretty confident about it. Boom, boom, boom. And then I'm on Twitter and I see Jimmy Detail used to be from the New Orleans or whatever, the Detail newspaper down there, but now he runs one of the rival site for LSU, and I just see tick, and that's his thing before a commitment. He's tick tick boom, so he just goes tick ... and we all knew what time Sampa was going to commit, and I just said, oh man. So let's go delete that draft of a welcome to the U piece out of the editorial. So yeah, he's a guy who all of a sudden went to LSU, and LSU is recruiting at a higher level than they pretty much ever have. You may make your own guesses and about why, but I mean, they got a 5-star Raheem Jarrett, 5-star wide receiver from Washington, D.C., all of a sudden, who was not looking at LSU. They get Antoine Sampa, who wasn't looking at LSU. They get Jermaine Burton, who used to go to IMG, but now is back home in Calabasas, California, who at one time was early committed to Miami. He's committed to LSU now. They're pulling in these 4 and 5 stars out of nowhere all of a sudden. And when that kind of thing happens, we probably have an idea why. But whatever. Point of fact, Miami, or a lot of people thought that Sampa was going to come down here. That was not the case. Just today, Jayon McCluster from Largo, Florida. He was down to Auburn, Florida State, and Miami, and he chose Florida State. But he was a Florida State lean for a while. Both of those guys, Sampa and McCluster, are linebackers. So that was, Manny Diaz's coached position, which is now being coached by new defensive coordinator Blake Baker. But that's two whiffs at two talented guys, within the span of like 5 days. Now, Jayon McCluster, he was saying that he might want to play in college with his friend, oh my God, Alvin something. I can't remember his last name. Whatever. But he's Mathis. There it is. Excuse me. Alvin Mathis, who's from the same town but goes to the other high school. And they were saying, oh, we're going to be a package deal. We're going to be a package deal. But then McCluster commits to Florida State, who is not anywhere on Mathis's radar. So, sometimes it's the wonderful world of recruiting where 17 and 18-year-old kids say things and then they do something opposite. So Alvin Mathis is somebody else who Miami's going to look at linebacker. But yeah, missing on guys is obviously not a thing that you want to have happen, but there are a lot of guys who are out there who are talented to bring in, especially at linebacker, and it double hurts on top of just missing on guys, because we already know that the linebacker position needs to be an elitely recruited position this year, because Miami's going to lose everybody. Like Sam Brooks, who knows what he's going to be like coming off of a knee injury. I mean, yeah, he played a little bit last year for Miami Northwestern, but we're not really sure what he's going to be. Plus, the fact he was an edge rusher more for Northwestern than like a stand-up linebacker, so making that transition is kind of nebulous in and of itself. Avery Huff, an athletic freak, a really well-built guy, 6'4", 205, but he needs to put on weight. He's a playmaker, and he probably is going to play this year, but we need other guys. So when you miss on a Sampa, who we're in on, he's 6'2", 230. You miss on McCluster, who's 6'1", 195. All of a sudden now it's like, okay, cool. Now we really got to start hitting on some of these guys. That Alvin Mathis, that, if you believe that there's a chance with Justin Flo, the number 1 linebacker in America. Oh, by the way, Sampa was the number 2 linebacker in America. So, he's up there with Justin Flo in terms of, build and talent. Like, maybe you pull a Savell Smalls from Washington, a 5-star linebacker. Maybe you pull a Justin Flo. But eventually, you're going to need to pull these guys, especially at linebacker, where there is a dearth of talent, especially moving forward after this year, because you're going to lose all 4 guys. That's Romeo Finley, Shaq Quarterman, Zach McLeod, and Michael Pinckney. All 4 starters. And yes, I count Romeo Finley as a starter because, yeah, whatever you rotate with, if you're going to go 4-2 or 4-3 at the, bring in that striker position. But all 4 of your starters at linebacker are gone. So you got to bring in guys of this caliber to replace them, because the other guys on this roster are not that talented. Plain and simple. Patrick Joyner might be a steal, moving him actually back to stand-up linebacker. Avery Huff, yes. The rest of those guys, I'm not sure any of them can play major snaps, who are not going to be a liability on defense. So you got to bring in guys. So missing on Sampa and missing on McCluster are not necessarily the news that Miami wanted, but there are other guys out there, and hopefully we can make moves so that we can have a celebration, or I can have fun talking about it like I did with Tyler Van Dyke, the new quarterback commit, when we get some linebackers in this class.
Cam Underwood from State of the U, the best analysis on Miami football you're going to find anywhere. And if you want to find it on a regular daily basis, you go to State of the U and join him and what he is touted to be. I'm going to put words in your mouth and you can correct me. Maybe the best semblance of talent that you've had there at State of the U, maybe since you took over. Absolutely.
100%. We have some really great guys, and they're doing some really great work. Especially just this week, Matt Washington, he quarterbacked our NFL draft coverage, and he's still doing stuff with that. Joining him on there were Austin Pert and John Camera, and they're still doing Procane's perspectives, I think they call them, of where those guys and how they fit with their NFL teams. We're going to do some Q&As with the NFL sites about where our guys went. On top of that, Marshall Thomas is just killing it. Gabby Arudio, who's our basically beat writer now. He's down there all the time on campus for all of the events and all, whatnot, just killing it. Justin DeTavio with his X's and O's. He even had a film breakdown of Tyler Van Dyke, which is another piece of content that's nice and free 99 for you on State of the U. I mean, we just have guys who are killing it. I mean, it's getting to the point where I'm doing writer recruitment, so I'm reading all these audition pieces and applications, and I'm trying to, put together who are going to add to the staff. But I have not written enough, and it's all these other guys who are carrying the website. So I know that people like seeing my byline and like hearing what I have to say. But I haven't written much recently, and you could argue that the quality of content has gone up with me not writing. That's the kind of staff that we have. And I don't just say it because it's, the website that I happen to manage. I really honestly, truly believe it. I read every single word every day. And I honestly promise you, if you're a Miami Hurricanes fan, this is the place to go. This is the place to be. And this is what you should be reading, because we have some really, really great guys. And man, I'm telling you, it's going to be tough sledding for me to choose what, 4, 5, or 6 that I bring in, but I trust and guarantee you that they will be to this level. And I mean, we keep producing great time. I can't even say they keep producing great content. I'm eventually going to get back in there with the creating also, but I mean, no, we have a great group. And I mean, I honestly and truly believe that, because like I said, I can go missing and the show don't stop and it keeps getting better.
Well, I know that the work that you and other SB Nation managing editors, did I get that title correct? Have to do most of the time is do exactly what you've been doing for years and years, and that's manage the site, but also write and keep up with everything. And when you can put yourself in a position where you can finally do the number one role and do the things that come with managing the site, and then leave it up to others to write, and you can capably cover the teams and feel good about what's going to be posted, and not have to feel as though you need to be the person, well, no, I better take that assignment because that's really important and I don't have anybody else that can do it. And I'm sure that's been the case in the past. We have 116 on the line. So what typically happens is we're 15 minutes into it. And obviously a number of you, it takes it. So this is for anything else. Subscribe to the channel, because I send out the notification a few hours in advance, so the people that are subscribed get the notification, know that we're going on live at 8:30 Eastern time. So if you're not subscribed, then you just kind of stumble upon it and try to figure out when we're going to be on. So that's one other reason to subscribe to the channel. We have had a number of really good questions, and also I greatly appreciate, and Cam does as well, the number of people that are contributing right here. So let me start with, and I'll get to everyone eventually. We'll start with J Love T. Thank you so much for the contribution for Cam and myself. Question for Cam: do you agree with me that cornerback is a weakness, especially having Bandy as the number one corner? Not saying Bandy is not a beast, especially at the slot, but we're talking cornerback number one.
I mean, I think that cornerback is an issue that needs to be addressed. I know that Miami is potentially looking at bringing in a cornerback and or a linebacker off the transfer portal before this season, just so that there is depth. Marshall Thomas, one of our guys, he wrote about the KJ Sales from North Carolina, maybe bringing him in. Antonio Howard, who is a Miami native. I forget where he played previously. I think it was West Virginia, but he's another guy who's out there available. So, yeah, adding talent is probably a thing that Miami would want to do in a perfect world at cornerback. I'm perfectly fine at the college level with having Trajan Bandy as my number one, because Trajan Bandy is a dog. I said it even when, people asked me about him when he was committed to Oklahoma. I said he's short, but that kid can play. Like, he can, he can hoop, metaphorically, you know what I mean? Like, he's 5'9", but he's well built. He's stocky. He has great technique. He's going to fight. He's very athletic, so he can jump. And obviously he's not going to jump with every 6'7" receiver on every play. But buddy has springs, and he's going to play. And he's a really great technician at that position. And he played a lot of outside cornerback last year. You know what I mean? He wasn't just a slot. He played, cornerback like CB2, like where he's on the outside playing against X and Z receivers. Like, that dude can play. So no, I'm not at all concerned about him as the number one cornerback because of his height. Nope. And we've seen other guys of that size or similar size, Tyrann Mathieu, other guys who are not 6'1" with long arms, who are, 5'9", 5'10", in that range. And Bandy's like a solid 5'9". He's not 5'10", but you know what I'm saying? Like, undersized, shorter guys. But again, he's stocky and he's cocky and he has that Miami attitude, and he's going to play it. He's going to bust your ass. Like, go back and watch Trajan Bandy's highlights. Like, he's not going to lay down for you. You know what I mean? He is shorter than some other guys at that position, but it's very few times that you would really notice that, because guys are taking advantage of him and his abilities in coverage. So in general, I do think the cornerback is something that needs to be addressed, maybe by bringing somebody else in. But no, I do not have any compunction or pause whatsoever with Trajan Bandy being my number one cornerback at all.
Cam Underwood, State of the U, joins us here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, each and every Wednesday night. And I appreciate the support in the live chat, both the comments and then the contributions. Realize that we do this here every day. and Cam is the cream of the crop, but we also have a number of other people with 247 Sports, Rivals, SB Nation that come on a regular basis. Steve Day's Michigan podcast the other day, just laying down the Michigan football knowledge like no other. Steve Hellwagon just a few minutes ago. The segment will be released here very soon on Ohio State, on and on and on. Florida State with James Coleman, a former Florida State football player. So we do it up big here. We do it up all the time, and we hit the major programs. And let me make a caveat. Deeper Rot, we love you, and we love your Texas comments. Yeah, and you know I love covering Texas football, and I do my best covering Texas football, and you're here for the Miami chat start to finish every week, so thank you so much for that. But keep in mind, it's funny because Deeper Rod telling everyone that he loves the channel and we've got the best college football channel, then he complains that we talk about Miami too much. Okay, let me relay something here. My aim is to cover college football across the board. And then obviously as teams go 11-1, I'm going to cover them more than the teams that are going 2-10. Obviously, I'm going to give attention to winning teams, but I'm going to start out with a level playing field, meaning if I could get 5,000 views for having a live stream on Oregon State football, I would do an Oregon State football live stream, but nobody's going to watch. So I had a suggestion for Colorado spring football report. I will do that just because I promise, but nobody's going to watch it. So you need to, if you want me to cover other teams, I know that their fan bases are not as big as Miami, Ohio State, Clemson, etc., but they're substantial in their own right. You know, there's 50,000 people at the Oregon State football games every week. There are people that want to consume Oregon State or Minnesota football, but it's not as large, but they're probably underserved. So if you could get my content out to that fan base and bring them in, so be it. I will talk Minnesota football. We'll do a Minnesota live stream on here if that's what you like. But Miami brings in views, just like the other teams I just mentioned, Florida State, Ohio State, Michigan, and that's the deal. So I've got to balance those two things. If Purdue goes on an 11-game winning streak next season, I'll talk a ton of Purdue football, even if nobody's watching it. You can understand my approach here. Mike Williams, thank you so much for the contribution. Dennis Wilson, I hope I did not lose your question. I'll look for it in just a second, but on the way to it, I stop where Ashley Pownell. I hope I pronounced your last name.
AJ! Yo, that's my homeboy.
Okay. Are we pursuing the DB from UNC?
No, that's who I mentioned in the previous question about cornerback, KJ Sales. So I'm not sure. But, you know, he liked and retweeted and put the double eyes emoji on the post that we wrote about that. He's been going back and forth with Trayvon Hill, about that because Trayvon Hill is from the similar area up in Virginia. So he's like, yo, slide through. So, I mean, they're banding that about on social media and things like that. But, actually, if we're approaching him and everything, I do not have an answer on that. But, I think that, it's been multiply reported that Miami is looking at multiple options at cornerback. So I think the KJ Sales is probably one of them, but we'll see.
Big shout out to Darth Vader 1219, the U family. Thank you so much for the contribution. And he just simply says, thanks, guys. Appreciate the content. Jay, the U family. Blaze, the same thing. Thank you so much for the contribution. And I'm looking for Dennis's question. And while I'm looking for it, I would like to get, Cam, your reaction to Gerald Willis not getting drafted.
Gerald Willis not getting drafted. Yeah, that was a mess. That was a mess. And, for a guy who should have been first team All-American, that's really disappointing, and I know he's a fifth-year senior, and there's an age thing that goes with that. Like I'm playing MLB The Show, and I don't try to draft guys in the video game who are 23 or 24. You want to draft the 18, 19-year-olds for longevity purposes. So, the fact that he was a fifth-year senior might have played into it. But Manny Navarro from The Athletic, he and also the Sun Sentinel and also Miami's rival site, Kane Sport, they all wrote pieces about this. And, there were just multiple issues. And this is pretty much what everybody thought. Number one, the University of Florida and their coaching staff from when Gerald Willis was there talked negatively about him, being a troublemaker and things like that. And, if you think back to yourself when you were 18 or 19 years old, you listener, watcher right now, probably made some wise or or unwise or indelicate decisions. And Gerald Willis did the same thing. A point that was brought up in one of the pieces that I read, one of those, I forget which one, so forgive me. That's why I tried to name all of the pieces or all the outlets that wrote them. Two of the players with whom Gerald Willis had big problems and confrontations in his year at Florida, their fathers were Fred Taylor and Jack Del Rio, who are well connected in the NFL. Both of them, Jack Del Rio has been coaching in the NFL for years, well connected. Fred Taylor, same thing. So if those guys are talking to their peers and colleagues, I mean, hey man, don't take this kid. And they're on the same age level, so they're not even talking up in a chronological way to guys in the front office. They are their actual peers and have been for many, many years. So if they say, hey, do not take this kid because this kid's a jerk because he did whatever to my son and he's got to pay the price for that and there's got to be consequences for those actions, you're going to listen to that, especially if you're friends with Fred Taylor and Jack Del Rio. So that's one thing. The coaching staff at Florida, when he was there, they reportedly were very negative in their comments about Gerald Willis, as were coaches, plural, from Miami during the Al Golden and Mark Richt tenures. I don't know who those coaches are, obviously, but when you have coaches from 3 different regimes at 2 different schools, including the school from which you are graduating now, that's problematic. And I don't necessarily agree with what they're saying, but I don't necessarily have the full story either. But when you put all those things together, that is more than enough for him not to get drafted. I mean, players have gone undrafted for far less than getting in fights with the sons of 2 well-known NFL people who are still associated with the league and getting negative recommendations or negative stories, negative feedback from coaches at 2 different schools and 3 different coaching staffs. I mean, guys have gone undrafted for far, far less. And on top of that, whatever it was that made Gerald Willis miss the 2017 season when he took his personal leave of absence, whatever that issue was, it is hard for me to think that had no role in this also. I do not know what that is. I cannot speak on that. But again, when you're adding all these things together, that's more than enough, probable cause for him not to get drafted. Now, you also want to talk about people saying, oh, he's ineffective or ineffectual in the run game, or he doesn't do this or he doesn't do that. I say turn on the tape because I don't necessarily agree with that. But yeah, so I mean, it was pretty sad, but being able to pick and choose his own spot as an undrafted free agent. I mean, once it got to like the 6th round, I was hoping he was going to be undrafted. So he had the agency to pick his own destination. He's going to Baltimore, and Miami Hurricanes have had great success in Baltimore with the Ravens. And I fully expect Gerald Willis to make the roster and be in the league for, 8, 10, 12, 13 years. I honestly believe that. So, we'll see what happens. But I mean, it was very unfortunate that he was, of the draft eligible guys, was not drafted. I mean, there were some other ones who were undrafted as well. But I mean, there were guys who had Gerald Willis as a 2nd, 3rd round grade, and he went undrafted. That was what the unfortunate part of it was.
My beloved Cleveland Browns selected Sheldrick Redwine.
Yep.
How do you think he projects to the next level?
Well, we just wrote about Sheldrick on State of the U, so I urge you to go look at that. But Sheldrick was a lifelong teammate of Jaquan Johnson. I've said it before. They were born in the same hospital on the same day. They went to the same elementary school, played on the same Optimus team, played middle school and high school and college together. Redwine was a cornerback for a while, and then he moved over inside to safety, and he hits, and he's got good size. So I will say that, but nothing more. And then, kind of do the whole plug thing, because we did just write in about him in depth. I don't know if it was today or yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday up on State of the U. So just be sure you go check that out. But I think that he will transition pretty well, and I think that he'll, find a home in that Brown secondary.
Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, with the best discussion, debate, and analysis of the game we love each and every day with top bloggers, broadcasters, and writers. And then you get the analysis from myself, which includes right now Cam and Zoe. We are in the midst of ranking every schedule in the Power 5. So I've knocked out number 70, number 69, 70 teams in the Power 5. We've ranked the schedules and projected the records for all the teams. No, that is not my final prediction for 2019, but my projected record, because I used to just rank the schedules and that wasn't good enough for everyone. They wanted me to project a record. So I have done that. And coming up tomorrow will be team number 68 with the 68th best or the third worst or least difficult, easiest schedule in the Power Five. So that's coming up next. And believe me, when we cover spring football like nobody else, that means 32 teams covered. So check out the spring football reports. And now we're diving into what Cam and I talked about just a few off seasons ago when things were a bit dead. And I'll hit Cam up with this at some point. We'll talk about the greatest wins in Miami history, the most excruciating losses, best players, favorite players. We'll run the gamut and talk Miami football history coming up in the next several weeks as well. But without further ado, after I let everyone know that you can find me on Patreon as well, and of course join us there where I will be responding to viewer comments on a regular basis, and grab the Amazon link to support the channel in the description section below. And of course, like the videos. We got Alonzo 1219 on the line, and I think this is exactly my cue just to kick back in my easy chair, monitor the live chat, and let two bastions of Miami football coverage go at it here in a good way. Zoe, take it away.
First off, this is like an honor. This is the big to get on with Mark for the first time was the biggest thing that ever happened to me. I'm serious, being honest with you, this is real close. I've been following Cam Underwood for a long time. To me, the best of the best at Miami, at being a Miami blogger, analyst, journalist, whatever you want to call. Really look up to everything that you do, my brother. I appreciate you so much, and to be able to get on here with you, man, it's an honor. I appreciate it.
Right. Nah, man, I appreciate you. You know, like fam got to support fam. So, you know, I see you out there with everything. And, you know, I've been watching your videos too. So Mark was like, oh, yeah, you know, Zoe want to come on. And, you know, I've been familiar with you and everything. I see what you're doing too. But, you know, I appreciate that and everything. Support you as well, brother.
I get a lot of people that we come from two different. We do things two different ways. But you break it down a lot better than I do. I do it a little bit different. But I think we're kind of both on the same page with Perry. I was at the spring game, and I heard a lot of hype from. I hear a lot of hype from Tate, and no disrespect to Tate. And I spoke with his father as well. I keep telling people his pocket awareness. He knows how to. He has escapability, but he can't throw out of the pocket. His ball either sails too high, or it gets knocked down. And every time I seen him complete a pass, he was rolling right. He would never even roll left. And those were my concerns about him. And if I'm a defensive coordinator, I make him roll right or I make him stay in the pocket. And this is why I think he has a stronger arm. He's more accurate. He's 6'4". He can see over the line. He can throw over the defensive line. And this is what makes him a better quarterback than Tate to me. I'm not on the bandwagon of just going for Tate.
Well, I mean, the first thing that I want to say is rolling to your left as a right-handed quarterback is hard. Like for everybody, you know what I mean? Like you see dudes who do it, but you know, it's like, you know, NBA players, like they do it and they make it look easy, but it's hella hard, fam. Yeah. So like, I feel you on that. And, you know, Tate is not going to sit there and pick apart a defense throwing the ball. That's just period. You know, whether it's Jaron or Kosi, they have a better ability to do that. You know, I am a Kosi fan, but I want the best player to play. So if that's Jaron or Tate or whatever, you know, but I'm not on anybody's bandwagon right now as far as quarterbacks. Like my personal fave, if I set the blog aside and everything, and like it's funny that you say we do things differently because like some people, you know, sometimes when I'm not like on Twitter or like on the website, I'm just with like the homies and everything. Like, no, we're very much the same, but I try to put that in a packaged kind of way. You know, because if you just say, oh, like I'm a fan and everything, people won't listen to you. But if you have stats and figures, then people sometimes will. So, yeah, my personal fave for Cam is Kosi, 100%. But as wanting Miami Hurricanes to be great, whoever wins it, wins it.
And I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 110% on that. That's why I try to break it down to where I look at like how many drops did a quarter. Because people like to talk about completion percentage, but drops are never by the completion percentage. So you don't people don't look at those things. And that's why I try to break it down that way. I just do it in a barbershop talk type of way, but I still try to bring stats, but nowhere near as good as you are. And the wholesome one is another one who understands this. I played football my whole life, so I know how to play football. I know how to talk football. Right. I'm not an analytical stat guy, but I know for a fact, and I coached high school football for like 6 years. So I know as a defensive line coach, so I know for a fact if a quarterback has one dimension, which is running or rolling to one side of the field, it's going to be easy for me to defend that. And that's what I looked at tape. I wasn't looking at his high school film. I didn't care about high school film. I don't care about a game when you got in as a backup and did mop-up duty. I care about what you did on the field. And I was totally against the Mark Richt hire because I live in Columbia, and I knew what he did with Georgia. Okay. And him and his son totally hindered Malik, because Malik's best game was as under Larry Scott.
Larry Scott,
yeah, that's his best game ever.
I mean, that was just like Mark Richt looking out for his son. I mean, if we keep it a buck, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, yo, bring him down. Has this new wife. They just had this baby. You know, unfortunately, the baby had a medical condition, and they had to pay for that and everything. And like, I'm not wishing ill upon anybody, especially a baby. I'm glad that the baby is fine. But like, it wasn't because he earned that job. It was because he was his son, so he put him on. So yeah, man, he didn't have the ability to coach that. Like, clearly, we saw that. He's
not working now. Put it that way.
He's the one coach who hasn't got hired. Like
the one. The one. And I looked at it, and I told people, I'm like, when your freshman quarterback is smarter than your coach, you have a problem. Yeah. And I just looked at those things, and I'm like, you can't. And Malik Rozier I kept saying it all year long. I said it last year, and Malik Rozier summed it up for me with that interview that he did with when he did that, and I was saying that same thing all year long. And when he said that, I was just like, I felt validated, because I was like, somebody in the locker room say what I have been saying all year long, and you don't have to know everything about football to know football. And I explain it to people, but you, on the other hand, I'm telling you, it's two guys that I really look up to when it comes talking stats on Miami Hurricane football. You're number one, and the wholesome one is number two, because he's just the wholesome one. You guys just, you get it. And that's why I continue to read your blogs. I continue to listen to when you talk, is because you guys get it. And like I said, I might do it a different way, but I learned so much from what you guys do, and it makes me better. Period.
I appreciate that, man. I mean, it's a different way to look at things, you know, because we all can say this sucks and this is terrible, but, you know, digging into it, like, how tangibly can it get better? You know, so like if you look at it from the analytics, and then, you know, bring in somebody, you know, our guy Justin on the website, he's a high school coach too, so he breaks down X's and O's. I'm gonna listen to you talk about X's and O's. You know, I'm gonna listen to, so we can approach it a couple different ways, but to really, you know, put it into perspective, we're like, oh, quarterback play was bad. No, statistically, it was the second worst out of 130 starting quarterbacks, and you'll say, oh wow, like I knew it was bad. I didn't know it was that kind of bad. So just really, you know, putting context on things, but you know, yeah, just really trying to just look at it and always trying to find an answer, because if it's going well, then keep doing that. Like when Jeff Thomas is averaging 38 yards a catch, I would have liked to keep doing that, but obviously the offense wasn't that way. And if it's going badly, like a couple of years ago when we only had, what was that, 23% conversions on third down, saying, look, you need to get that up to 40. You know what I mean? And that's almost double. That's going to leave the offense on the field. And that one little number will show tangibly, you know, just such great success or, you know, progress moving forward. And that's really just what it's about, I think, at least for me.
And I argue with everybody when everybody say offensive line. And I tell people, you allowed 2.6 seconds to get rid of the ball in college football. Miami averaged 2.7 last year. So if you're at 2.7, you're above average. Mm-hmm. So it's not, you can't blame the offensive line. Well, we can't run the ball. Well, when they know for a fact you have 4 plays, the defensive coordinator is going to sit there. He's going to say, you know what, I dare you. I'm going to stack the box with 12 players, and I'm only allowed 11 men on the field. Yep. I'm going to put 12 players in the box, and I'm going to dare you to beat me, because you can't, because it's not that you can't beat me, it's that your play calling is going to allow me to dictate what I do. So, and actually the LSU defense coordinator basically said that. He said, I wasn't concerned because I knew they only had a couple of plays, and that's bad.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, when Miami finally went to something a little different, you had that crossing route, the two real great catches by Jeff. The one that was behind him, you know, he ran a crossing route and was open in two different windows before Rozier finally hit him way over here on the sideline, and then the one down the middle of the field, late on the post route, which was, I mean, obviously it was underthrown, but like it was incredible that Malik put that ball between three defenders. But that was like, those were the two plays really that were a wrinkle off of what a normal play would have been. And those were the two, I want to say, two biggest gains in that whole game, or two longest plays for Miami's offense. So yeah, that just backs up exactly what you're saying.
And no motion in the offense at all last year, like zero motion.
Not even just last year, fam. No,
the year before.
No. I'll go back. Tell me, when was the last time that you saw motion? Not even last year or the year before. Keep going back. When was the last time you saw motion?
Jared Fish.
Thank you. Which was what, 09?
Oh no. It's
we haven't moved across the formation in a decade. Like, not even short motion where you like take the 1 and 2 receivers and you bring the one inside, so all of a sudden they're stacked or something. Not even that small motion. Not even going across the formation. Nothing in a decade, yo. Like, that's what I'm talking about.
And he's supposed to be an offensive guru, and it's like, and I think, and I didn't see Brevin Jordan get his first catch until Nikoski played.
He had a catch earlier before that, but the thing with Mark Richt being an offensive guru is he thought he was better than everybody, so he didn't need motion because the plays are going to work.
Yeah, well, now he's an analyst, so it's.
I mean, more power to him. I mean, it's good work if you can get it. You know, you got no stress of winning and losing and still get paid hella cash.
Yeah, he's getting paid, but my thing is, it's like you're good at what you do. You're great at what you do, and this is your passion. So even if you got more money, if you got less money to do something a little bit easier, you would still feel like, damn, I should have listened to somebody, like, for real, because this is what he wants to coach. Nobody can tell me he doesn't still want. He has the urge to coach. It's just that, like you say, he's smarter than everybody. When you're smarter than my grandfather told me that a man who knows everything knows nothing.
Yep.
And that's what he did. He knew nothing. When he hired his son, and he had his son calling plays last year. And a lot of people don't. I'm sitting here like, yo, his only job was he worked as a graduate assistant for 1 year at Georgia, and Rex Ryan's coffee boy.
Yeah.
And you jump from a graduate assistant to Rex Ryan's coffee boy to one of the most important coaches in college football, which is a quarterback coach. And I was still trying to figure out where those levels went. You know, and it's
because the first two was based upon him and his career and whatnot, and that leap had nothing to do with his ability. It was his last name.
I remember watching every analyst every time they asked about John. They would be like, so what do you think about John? What do you think about John? What is it? And Mark first answer, well, I love my grandkids. You know,
yeah, because that's what it was about. And I get it. I'm a family person too. Like, I love my family. I'm not going to throw them under the bus for anything. All my cousins, my mom, like everybody, like, yo, I'm there for that. But I'm not going to lean on them in my professional situation. You know what I mean? Like, that's where the problem was. Because, yeah, nobody is saying that you can't love your family, you can't be here, you can't, do that. But when you're asked about doing your job and you're bringing up your family members who are not even a part of that industry. Because, again, he didn't even say, oh, well, John's doing something. He said, I love my grandkids. What your grandkids got to do about you calling plays on 12, Mark?
I don't care about your grandkids. No,
you know what I mean?
I'm a season ticket. I still buy tickets. I'm a season ticket holder. So
this, guys, is the best show we've ever had. And I don't have to do anything. I just wind you guys up and let you go.
Hey, man.
There are people going crazy on the live chat.
I believe it. I mean, we're just chopping it up, but
I don't know what this says for me, but that's all right.
Nah, it's all good. Zoe, let me ask you, what are you thinking about for this year? What do you think we're gonna do? What's like your initial impression, at least?
All right, this is me, and this is not me being, because I wouldn't have said this last year. Okay. When Mark Richt left, to me, it was we won a Super Bowl. Not that we won a Super Bowl. So I feel like there's only two teams on our schedule that has the talent that we have, and that is Florida and Florida State. I feel like we can. I'm not a big fan of Felipe. and I feel like we can beat Florida State. So if we don't slip up against one of those two, 12-0, but I think we'll lose by at least 10 points, if not more, to Clemson.
I'm going to stop before Cam jumps in here just to let everyone know here that people are going nuts on the live chat. We've got 158 people on the line on YouTube. Tons of people are contributing, so thank you both very much. Appreciate that. I think I can go get a sandwich and turn the TV on and have a good time and let you guys just go to it.
I mean, this is what I've been wanting to talk with Cam for, and I know he's a very busy guy. And I work 10, 12 hours a day, so to actually get on here with him was like, my goodness gracious. Because somebody who know, like I say, for someone, I pick his brain all the time. People don't realize, like, anytime he's on this show, I'm sitting here or I'm reading his blog and I pick to see what I can add. And same thing with the hosting one.
Hey, so just don't forget to plug my channel because you plug it better than anybody. So just don't forget to do those plugs that are better than anybody.
I'm gonna continue. This is what started me. Mark came. I think I had like 400 subscribers. I hadn't even hit 1,000 yet. And Mark said, "Come on, do the show. I like what you're doing." Okay, and that was it for me, man. I'm like, wow, and just so. And me and Mark disagree on things on social media, and it's never a disagreement to where it's an argument. It's a disagreement, a different. And don't ever surround yourself around people who agree with you all the time because they'll make you dumb. That's one thing I love about Mark. He's corrected me on his show a couple of times. I'll be like, man, for real.
I mean, sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong. So I mean, and we all gotta accept that, from time to time. So I hear you.
That's my place in life, though. When it comes to college football, I correct people on here.
All right, you've corrected me on Facebook too, so I guess Facebook, here, social media, hey, I just know it's coming now, so I just deal with it. I just deal with it now, man. And what amazes me is like, most people can't come on my channel and correct me. He come on my channel and correct me. Everybody else I'm cursing out. They're like, you don't correct Mark. I mean, so what? He's different. I'm gonna start talking about his kids.
That's a mess. His daughter came by when we recorded one time. She was in the background, so they had to have a quick conversation. But it's all good. I mean, I don't know about 12-0 about this year, honestly. I need to see something from the offense first. I think that the defense is going to be stellar again. I think that there's going to be maybe a little bit of regression from the pass defense because we were number one in America last year, and you lose, Redwine, Johnson, and Jackson out of that secondary, even though you have, talented guys. So I would say, my early thought is, and again, Miami is going to be the most talented team on the field every week of the year, except for one, maybe two, depending on what you think about Florida State's roster. Florida, they have out-recruited us recently. I mean, it's not a big gap saying that they're more talented, but if you look up and down the roster, I would say slightly. Florida State, depending on what you think about them, especially on the lines, it's about the same. And then obviously, God willing, that we win the Coastal and we get back to, Charlotte to face Clemson. I mean, they're the biggest, baddest boys in town, on the entire block. So, I mean, right now, my gut says something like 9-3, maybe 10-2, just because – I'll say it because of this. You got a young quarterback who's learning how to win. You got a young offense that's learning themselves in the scheme, and a younger defense. I mean, you still got guys up front, but and Manny Diaz also as a head coach. You got multiple guys in new areas who are trying to win or trying to learn how to win in this new job. And I don't necessarily think that's going to come together in a 12-win season. But if I'm wrong and you are right, I would love that.
What gets me is that. What puts me at 12-0 is that, or 11-1. I don't think Florida and Florida State will beat us. I don't think both of them will be. I think Manny would have a brain aneurysm, and I just don't think. And like you said, we're more talented than everybody else. What has me convinced about Manny is that I booed the hire. I booed that hire, did not want it.
Why?
And Because I was looking at Texas film.
Okay.
I was looking at Texas film. I was looking at, I wasn't looking at Mississippi State. I was looking at Texas film. So I booed the hire, and I apologized by week 3. I was sending my apology letter into the University of Miami about the hire. And then last year, I started campaigning for him as head coach in waiting. But I watched what he did his first year at Miami. And usually as a head coach, your best asset is your assistants. Dan Enos is a hell of an offensive coordinator.
Absolutely.
Like you say, we're more talented than everybody except for maybe 1 or 2 teams. And that's where I came up with a 12-0, 11-1 at. That's not including AC. I don't believe we can beat Clemson, period. I mean, they mollywop Alabama. They're a different animal. I'm not even concerned about them right now. But if we lose to one team, it'll be one of those, and I don't think we'll lose again the rest of the season until the ACC championship game. Because we're just way more talented. And sometimes it's not just the talent, it's the dog mentality. And Manny Diaz is a dog. And he hired a bunch of dogs with him. And they're not going to sit there and say, be complacent, or no, when you mess up, they're going to let you know about it. And when you make a great play, they're going to let you know about it. And I'm 43 and I'm ready to play for him. I'll suit up for him and get hurt a couple times.
No, I mean, I agree with you on that. Like, I'm definitely hyped with the energy that they have. My counterpoint to what you said is I have not seen this team be mentally tough after a loss. I've not seen that in years. So if you
I've seen the defense do it.
Well, I've seen the yeah. But that's only part of the team.
That's what I'm saying.
Offense, everybody got to do that. So I know that Manny has that mentality, but it takes a while for that to trickle down. You know what I mean? Like he has you and me, where it's like, okay, cool, I'll bounce back. Like, I'm about to be 38, you're 43. We've been through some stuff, we've seen some stuff. So our bounce back ability, our mental ability to bounce back is way different than 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds.
Oh, I can agree with you 100%. But
that's where I think a loss might come, and it might, that next week it might beat you twice. Because if we lose to Florida State, we might come back that next week and let that game beat us again. That's what I'm talking about by seeing 2, maybe 3 losses, because I don't see that mental fortitude yet.
And see, I can agree with you on that, except for Manny. And the reason why I say this is our defense never had really a mental breakdown until like the end of the season since he's been there. Right. And you look at the year before with Mark Richt, our defense had mental breakdowns every quarter. Mm-hmm. I mean, so I just look at when he took over, when Manny and Mark took over with Brad Kaya there, we were considered our defense was supposed to be 2 years behind. Our defense took over from day one, and they were the ones having a mental collapse. So I just look at it as a standpoint of and listening to Dan Enos, and those guys in Florida, those guys in South Florida, those are dogs, man, and they want to be let loose. I don't see no fear in those guys. I think Mark Richt held those guys back.
Absolutely, he did.
And he broke their spirit. And I think if their spirit isn't broken, I just don't see. Anytime they wanted to open it up, do you remember what was that West Virginia game when we started out with that read option, and I was killing him, and as soon as he went to the spread,
look, I was there in Orlando. I was sitting with my boy Lou. And he got really nice tickets for us in the front row. And I was screaming because they're giving us all these yards. They're playing way off of 82. They gave Amon Richards all the space because they knew they couldn't run with us. They couldn't hoop with us. They couldn't check us. And I said, look, run a stop route, run an under, run a drag, get Amon Richards the ball right now and watch what happens. And it took us into the middle of the second quarter, and they finally ran that drag under. And then he scored from like 70 yards. And I'm like, yo, they can't run with us, fam. Like, it's the same thing that we should have been doing to Wisconsin, and we were doing until those interceptions these last couple of years. You know what I mean? But, yeah, they want to be let loose. They want to run faster and everything. And I believe that the scheme on offense is going to take them that way. But to me, it's a different thing because I know that the defense has that mentality that you're talking about with Manny Diaz. The offense, I still need it to trickle down. It's like, when you put sugar in tea, in unsweetened tea, and you know how it kind of goes and it takes a little while before it starts to go through. That's what I think this dog mentality is doing on offense. It's at the top, and it's starting to get to a couple little parts and pieces all the way through, but it needs to really be all up in there like it's sweet tea. It needs to be all mixed together where everybody has that mentality. And see that, and we haven't had an ability to see that because the team has not been on the field yet either. So that's, at least for me, what is kind of sticking in my brain is a part of the problem. Because, yeah, Manny Diaz is the one who's pushing that mentality. But until you go out there and because the defense came out when Manny Diaz first came as defensive coordinator, and they were hitting the offense in the mouth. You know what I mean? So then those guys hit him and said, oh, shoot, all right, we got that. Where's the offense going to get that from? Who's going to run? DJ Dallas, is he going to run somebody over? Is Jeff Thomas going to leave somebody in the dust and go score? Like, what's going to be the play that shows them, we them dudes? Yeah, because the defense, when they hit somebody, they got that. The offense, I haven't seen that yet.
I'm gonna tell you the guy I'm gonna expect the biggest explosive play from, and this is what I love about the game going against Florida, is because there is no Florida week 1. There is no we're going to prepare against Savannah State to get ready. No, you going in, then you have to be ready. And my X factor is Mallory. My X factor is Will Mallory. Because he is a dog. He is a bro. And you say who are we gonna get that play from? Do you remember the Mark Richt play against San Francisco when he carried about 50 San Francisco 49ers? I'm telling you, Will Mallory is going to hit a linebacker and then hit a corner and a safety, and that offense is going to get, whether it's a block or a catch, he's going to hurt somebody. And I think that's where I think our firepower is going to come from him, because he's that kid's. I did not know him like that until one game last year when he got hurt. Yeah, and this year.
Well, and that's the thing with him as well, because in high school, for those who are watching and listening, Will Mallory was 6'5", 207. He ran like high hurdles in the 110. You know what I mean? He wasn't this 235, 240 beast like he is now.
Solid.
I mean, and yeah, just good weight. I mean, you just look, calves, thighs, arms, shoulder. Like, I mean, yeah, I know I'm talking about him like, like a piece of meat, but like, dude is well put together. Like he could sell some jerseys. But the point is, this dude, and I saw a bunch of people talking about it on social media recently. Brevin Jordan was first team freshman All-American. Brevin Jordan's going to be 3 years in the first round or second round NFL draft pick. Brevin Jordan is that dude at tight end. But in the long term, Will Mallory's ceiling might be higher than Brevin Jordan.
I said that. I think it's higher now.
Because Will Mallory's 6'4", 235, and he's just growing into his, like, he has muscles now that he didn't have a year ago. You know what I mean? He's looking at his body like, yo, what is this? These shoulders, these biceps, these like what? Like he's like the Hulk the first time he got into Hulk mode, and it's just like, I can go smash stuff and it won't hurt. You know what I mean? Like, Will Mallory, you might be right, dog. Will Mallory's gonna be that dude. Like, honestly,
you see that stretch catch, the layout catch in the end zone? I said he laid out against like 14 players. I don't know how he got that ball, but it was just like,
the one in Orlando.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so nasty. Yeah.
And I'm also loving, and I picked on him so long. And I'm loving what Michael Irvin II is doing this year. I would love to see a 3 tight end set sometimes get those guys on the field, because just in some different situations where you can get mismatched out of that.
Yeah, I think that we're going to see that. Obviously, you saw the mismatches when we're going 12, 1 back, 2 tights. But you can go with 3 tights and then, put Brevin in the slot and put Will on the line and Michael Irvin second at fullback. You can move them around. You can, because if you put them all in the huddle, you don't even know where guys are going to go. So who knows? But all 3 of those guys, especially with Irvin stepping up, where if one of those guys needs a breather or he gets dinged up for a play, and you put in 87 and you're not going to break down the talent base, you're going to leave, another 2 great or pretty good college 2 tight ends out there. That's going to be a big thing. And that's definitely going to be helpful, but we got options at pretty much every position.
Hey, and that's why I say I'm not, the first game of the season is going to be like, this is going to be crazy. I can't remember. What year do you remember being this excited? I wasn't excited going into Mark Richt, I promise you, because I didn't want him.
Okay.
What year were you this excited that you can remember?
Hang on just a second. Mark Richt, I'm going to come to his defense to a certain degree here. He finished in the top 10, 8 of 15 years at Georgia. He won close to 80% of his games, contended for SEC championships on a regular basis. I would think that you would have been maybe not excited when he was hired because he didn't win championships there. He won a couple SEC championships, didn't win the entire thing, but it looked really good, Zoe.
No, it didn't.
Winning,
he was the underachiever.
They go from not winning a bowl game for 11 seasons, I think is the number, to beating West Virginia, capping off that season in good style, 9-4. They had a really good recruiting year. Then they win 10 consecutive games. At some point, you had to feel good that, hey, we've got an established coach that has to be a top 10 or 12 coach in the nation, and he's put together 2 really good recruiting classes, and we're 19-4 in our last 23 games.
Not one time. I looked at defense dominated every game. We won every game because of defense. We were 3 and out 90% of the doggone time. We won. We were. How are you almost number 1 in turnovers and almost dead last in points off of turnovers? How does that even equate? And that's what I'm looking at. He was horrible. He choked away. How do you let Missouri come in and win the SEC East twice? You choke it away one time, and they flat out beat you one time in the SEC. He let Steve Spurrier come to Carolina, who was a bottom feeder, and beat him up. Every coach in the SEC East beat Mark Richt, and it's easy to. My thing is, you look at how many big wins did he get? What big wins did he get? We got a bunch of small wins. I could beat up.
I don't want to derail you guys. Believe me, we could pick this up at some point, and I would be able to defend his legacy to a certain degree. No, he did not win a national championship.
I'm just talking big games.
There are other factors involved. He won big games. He won SEC championships. He won Sugar Bowls. He won big games.
My thing is, he was the only. When Steve Spurrier left, it was him. When Steve Spurrier left, it was him, and he couldn't get the job done. And Steve Spurrier came back and took the Gamecocks to an SEC championship game.
Thanks.
The Gamecocks.
You make some good points. For me, I don't know. There's been another year that really, and I don't even know how super excited I am. Miami is definitely taking steps up. I do appreciate Mark Richt for helping the program to get to a higher level. I appreciate Al Golden for getting us through what he got us through and putting us building a foundation. To be really, really excited, you'd have to go back to 05, after we lost to what's the name? That Sugar Bowl to LSU when they blew us out. Yeah. But the year after that, you think, okay, whatever. That was a one-off thing. Miami finna bounce back, and then didn't. But other than that, it's been a long time since you could be really, really honestly hype about a season, to this kind of a level. But, I think that speaks to the job that both Al Golden and Mark Richt did, where I'm looking at the floor for this ceiling as being a 9-3 season. As the floor, as opposed to that being above the ceiling for many, many years.
I could say I want to give a shout out to Opalaka 74 for my rings he got. He's in the chat right now. Appreciate you, Opalaka.
I was wondering who got those.
Opalaka 74 sent me all 5. I'll tell you what. I'm glad you mentioned Al Golden. Al Golden had one head coaching job, and that was at Temple. And he was there for 3 years, right?
Yep.
If you look at Mark Richt and Al Golden, you look at them together. Mark Richt, Al Golden was under sanctions the whole time. He was there, right?
Yep.
His rookie mistake was not firing Mark Arthur, right?
Yep. Not
firing because if you gave Al Golden and Manny Diaz, Al Golden may still have a job. He may. All right. So you gave Mark Richt Manny Diaz, and what did Mark Richt do with Manny Diaz? And he is supposed to be a better offensive mind, and that's my point. How can you have more talent than Al Golden? Al Golden recruited a number 8 recruiting class, if I'm not mistaken.
2012-13, yeah.
Other sanctions. So you have more talent than Al Golden, way more. We have more scholarships than Al Golden, and Nevin Shapiro's over our head, and y'all are basically neck and neck at Miami. And how does that happen with a guy coming from Temple compared to a legacy guy coming from a legendary legacy coach, Hall of Fame coach coming from Georgia.
Well, like I talked about with Mark Richt, man, the candle was burned on both ends. Like he had no more juice left. And I mean, to run a program like this, even at an advanced age, you got to have that energy. You got to be in it to win it. You got to be willing to do all the things, all the recruiting, all the social media, all the glad handing, everything that you got to do, all that time and energy you got to put in there. You got to be willing to do all of that. And it just became very clear that Mark Richt was not there energetically and willing to do those things. And I know that nobody asked him or required that he, fired offensive coaches, which is really saying that nobody told him he had to fire his son, but he knew what had to be done. And he didn't have whatever you want to call it. He didn't have that in him to do what needed to be done, because you probably had to get rid of, you would have to got rid of John Richt and Thomas Brown, because Thomas Brown was the named offensive coordinator. So you're not going to just demote him to being running backs coach by itself. Not just that,
him and Ron Dugans, they were both named offensive. How do we have co-offensive coordinators?
No. You had offensive coordinator who was Thomas Brown, and you had the passing game coordinator, Ron Dugans, which was basically just a line item on his thing where we could pay him more money. You know what I mean? But the offensive coordinator, the singular offensive coordinator on the team, was Thomas Brown. So to bring in OC, you got to get rid of him. And then OC is going to coach quarterbacks like Dan Enos. That means you got to get rid of your son or get him promoted elsewhere, which you didn't do. And then, I mean, if you're looking at all those things and you're like, I don't know if Dugans is going to want to stay, because we did give him the bump before the state calling. So now I got to replace 3 coaches on the side. Now the offensive line is pretty terrible because the scheme we're doing. So our offensive coordinator going to want to bring in a new guy anyway. So now we got to replace, cereals also. So as soon as you start going down that rabbit hole of looking at one thing, you see, oh, damn, I got to do all this. I didn't think he was there for that, and that's why he left. And I mean, I think we're agreeing upon, just maybe saying it differently. But yeah, there were things that needed to be done that Mark Richt, for whatever reason, wasn't willing to or able to do, and that's why he left.
I'm looking at Mark. I'm looking at Mark in the background.
Chilling.
I just said in the live chat, my channel's been hijacked, but I love it.
I mean, I don't know if it'll be next week or one time, but I would love to just, maybe just come in and keep chopping it up with you, Zoe, and everything. But, I appreciate the love and everything. I do. Unfortunately, I've been on for 1:10, so I'm going to have to get off of here. But, you brought some good things to the conversation, and, I really appreciate the support. So, and I hope you all support Zoe out here too, because, Kane's trying to help Canes out.
Man, I'm gonna say it before you get off. The hands down, and I've said it, and I've never said it to him. I've said it to Mark. I've said it on my show. I've said it on Facebook. The best there is ever at doing Miami Hurricane videos. To me, the Michael Jordan of Miami Hurricane videos, Cam Underwood. This is not me ass kissing. This is just paying homage and respect. The greatest rappers is Tupac, Biggie, and DMX to me. The greatest Miami Hurricane video maker right now to me. I mean, just Miami Hurricane blogger, analyst, whatever you want to call him, is Cam Underwood. Period. Point blank. One day I hope to get somewhere where he's at, but Cam, and I'm older than Cam. Cam, you are the man. You keep doing what you're doing. Do it for the culture. You are that guy, and I truly appreciate what you do for the University of Miami and for all us as fans, man.
Yeah, man, I really appreciate it. I bleed orange and green just like everybody else. I wasn't born into it like a lot of you guys. I was adopted into it when I came down to UM as a freshman in 2000. But, I do try to just, give my take and support, obviously, the U and the Canes and, orange and green for everybody. So, I really do appreciate that support and everything. So, I mean, yeah, you got me by a couple years and everything, but, you ain't way up there, buddy. So, but I'm sure we'll run into each other maybe in Orlando for the opener or something.
Please.
But, yeah.
I want to see you come after the game. If you get a chance, come by Duffy's. I'm going to give you the address. I'm doing something at Duffy's. I'm going to do the 1219 family reunion at Duffy's.
Okay.
Or maybe we can catch up at the tailgate, because I'll be at the tailgate as well. So
yeah, I mean, Yeah, I'll be out there. I'm trying to put together another happy hour event for the day before because we did one out in Dallas last year for LSU. So
put it together. I'll be there. You put it together.
Yeah. So I'll let everybody know. But like I said, man, I definitely appreciate that, Mark. It's always good on a Wednesday. So I'll just do my last little thing because I'm gonna get out of here. So thank you all for supporting and watching and everything. Be sure you check us out. My personal Twitter is @Underwood Sports. The website's Twitter, which I also cultivate, is @TheStateOfTheU. We're stateoftheu.com, Facebook.com/TheStateOfTheU. Like I said, we are recruiting new riders. I'm not taking any more applications because I got enough already, but those should be up soon. We have a great collection of guys, and we do our best, to bring you the very cream of the crop best Miami Hurricanes commentary and analysis out there. So please be sure that you support, obviously everybody, but this is my plug for our website. So stateoftheu.com, come fan with us. Really appreciate y'all.
I will put my application in, but you probably couldn't read it. so I'll make sure I don't do that.
Nah, man. I mean, hey, just keep putting those video links. Everybody doesn't have to be a writer and everything. You know what I mean? That's why I like to diversify by doing podcasts and videos also, because sometimes it is good to get out from behind the keyboard. I feel you.
I can barely type.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that was that. Since you were born in the '70s, you ain't ever had to take that typing class like I did. But
2 fingers.
No, not 2 fingers, bro. See, man, that's like when I used to teach and I had students trying to play piano with 2 fingers. You can't be going out here like that, so.
Two fingers. Finger cane.
Y'all are a mess. All right. Well, like I said, man, it was a pleasure, Zoe, honestly, and I really appreciate the support, man. So, I'll keep supporting you also. But, man, it was my pleasure, man.
Mine too, man. I appreciate you, Cam. You have a good one, man.
All right. Now,
Thanks
y'all
so
be
much,
good.
Cam.
All right, Mark. You guys have a good one. I'll see you.
All right, so I guess we can wrap it up here. I would like to remind everyone that if you love what you just saw, you can see, maybe not to this degree, but you can see some great analysis each and every day. DeAndre, we appreciate the contribution on the channel. We've got, we had as many as just over 200 watching us at one time. We've got 158 on the line right here. And again, we appreciate the contributions. We had so many people contribute to the super chat. And so thank you so much for that. I don't know how many thousands of comments we've received. So, of course, just because of the nature of the conversation between Zoe and Cam, I wasn't going to get to the comments and questions and break up the great conversation that they were having. So I appreciate it. Again, you can support the channel by grabbing the Amazon link in the description section of this video or any of the videos. It doesn't change your Amazon shopping experience. It doesn't cost you a penny. Just grab the link. You're going to help build the channel. If you love what we do here in Talking College Football with the best discussion, debate, and analysis on a daily basis, then lock it in right here. Like, comment, share the videos, and subscribe. Join us on Patreon. I'm going to be over there breaking down viewer comments and basically looking over the viewer comments each and every week and responding to you. So join the party over on Patreon. And Zoe, I'll let you take it away from here.
First off, I like to thank a lot of guys that's on my channel. First, I'd like to thank 786. I would love to thank 786. He is the guy on the ground. He is the guy behind the scenes, man, who gets me so much information. I love that guy to death. That's my big brother. He's down in Miami. The wholesome one. That's my little brother. For just always keeping me grounded, not letting me get the big head. And 786 like that too. OG Club Kane, Ross, the man behind the scenes, Darth Vader, who's always there helping me, giving me a hand, and Baby Vader and Miss Vader. Like OG Club Kane, Opalaka 74. I know I'm pretty sure I'm leaving out some guys, but you guys know who you are. Mark. I'm not leaving Mark out. Mark Dudley from the Michigan fan, who's always showing so much support. And the #1 fan of this channel, Mr. Mark Rogers, for giving me my first big break at doing these videos. Like I said, I was growing a little bit, and then when my first time on Mark Rogers, and even when people basically booed me and said that he was just he didn't know sports, Mark was like, he just does it from a different angle. And to Mark has always been my biggest supporter out of anybody. I'm serious. I truly appreciate that. And I'm gonna take credit because I did give him that. He did not want to take that name, the voice of college football. He didn't want to. I kept that's your name. That's your name. Because he is. And last but not least, man, thank you so much, Cam. That will go in. You have to send me this video. You have to send it to me. I'm gonna keep the whole video. To be on with Mark and Cam. I couldn't have asked for anything better. I'm serious. I'm not even sleeping anymore. I got to be working at 5 o'clock in the morning. This was the best day probably of my YouTube career, is doing this with you and Cam. I couldn't ask for anything better, man. I love you two guys, man. Thank you so much for doing what you Mark, you the man, Mark. You are the man.
Well, it was a whole lot of fun, like you just stated, much better than I can. And I didn't even have to do a whole lot of work, basically no work. I just kicked back and I enjoyed just letting you two go at it. It was fun.
You said that we would have a good conversation. I was kind of scared because, to be honest with you, no one makes me nervous. Like, the first time on this show, I was nervous as hell. The first time I did ESPN the radio, I was nervous as hell. And the first time doing a show with Cam, I was nervous. I don't get nervous, but those 3 things got me nervous. I'm serious. I was sitting back watching. I'm sitting back watching the YouTube show like this here, just rocking back and forth, like, what am I gonna say? What am I gonna say? The first 30 minutes of the show, I'm like, oh my God, I'm not gonna make it. But man, I appreciate it, man. I probably can retire now. I'm on top.
There it is.
On top of the world.
You're on top of the world, but you're somehow going to find yourself even higher than that. There's no doubt about that. We're going to keep going and going and going and not stopping. So for the people that are watching on Facebook, this was just a sneak peek into what we do here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. So I got to build the Facebook audience. I rarely do this where I go on Facebook Live, but I wanted to do this because Zoe and I are friends on Facebook, and I thought maybe some people would jump online. So thanks for all the people that jumped online on Facebook. But you got to catch us on YouTube at markrogerstv.com, or just go to YouTube and search Mark Rogers TV, search Alonzo 1219. So people that are my Facebook friends, but not necessarily Alonzo's, it's Alonzo 1219. You can join them on Facebook, join them on YouTube as well for college football analysis and Miami talk.
College football vids Coach Coop as well. That's my brother. Check him out as well. Coop is a good guy, and he breaks it down a little bit different than everybody else, but he knows his stuff. So another guy that does Miami videos, that's pretty good.
All right, so you have a great night. Get yourself some rest.
I would love to see one day Pigskin Pete. He's crazy. That's my guy. I'm gonna. He's good. He's a Clemson video maker. I don't know what's going on in the Clemson fan, but he's great at breaking down analysis.
I just posted a video with Pigskin Pete. It went up today.
Thank you. That's my guy. I'm gonna let you get off, but what got me with Pigskin Pete is I went into he mentioned Miami, and he mentioned it in a kind of, I thought it was kind of bad way, and I went at him in his chat. He told me, I know you, but I don't know you. I've never talked to you. You do your videos your way, and I'll do my videos my way. How about that? And I was like, okay, my bad. And ever since then, we've been cool. Peace, my guy. So I'm glad you did that with him. He deserves it. So.
All right, so thank you so much. We will talk to you soon.
Love you, Mark. Love the Mark Rogers family. Support the damn show. Put it out there. Share the channel. Let's get Mark. Mark needs 100,000. I'm dead serious, man. Because with this, if no Mark, there's no Alonzo. If Mark retire, I'm retiring with him. I'm telling you, I think I'm playing. If we retire, I'm retiring. We're going out together. That's my boy.
We won't let it happen either way.
All right, Mark, man. Love you, bro. You keep doing it.
Love you too. We'll see you. All right, man. That was good. All right, everyone. We will see you soon. I have recorded that on Facebook Live. It wasn't the prettiest thing we've ever seen, but I appreciate as many as over 200 people being online with us here on YouTube. And you guys, I also recorded Florida State Talk and Ohio State tonight, so that's going to be available very soon. Clemson, Michigan, and Georgia posted on my channel just in the last couple of days with some really good talk there as well. The schedule breakdowns are coming more your way. Army at number 70, Liberty at number 69. Who's going to be at number 68? My Power 5 schedule rankings and projected records coming your way in the next several days. I'm doing my best to release one per day. And then some other people gave me some great suggestions on some videos to cut. There was somebody out there that suggested today that I do a Mount Rushmore for college football programs. Maybe I'll get to that. I definitely want to rank the top 10 players at every position in college football for 2019. Now that we've passed spring practice, I wanted to get spring out of the way and be able to soak that in. And now that only a few teams have spring games left, be able to rate the top 20, the top 10 at every position, and maybe the top 10 in every conference. We'll see what we can do. I will do my best. As you support the channel, that gets us closer to going full throttle, full time, all the time. We'll see you guys very soon. Thank you so much for a great night. It wasn't just Zoe, just wasn't Cam, and certainly wasn't just me, because I just kicked back and listened to it. It was all of you contributing to the live chat. I was monitoring the comments. If you had any questions or comments that didn't get answered, and of course I just let those guys go, certainly ask those in the comment section of any of the videos. I'll get to as many as possible. I'm going to be answering questions over on Patreon, and we're going to build that platform as well. Right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. We will see you next time.